When Mike asked me to talk about the Conte Center and team science at Conte Center, the question is, what does the Conte Center bring to the table? Well, the study of the brain in this amazing three-dimensional computational mechanism or structure is daunting enough. But what the Conte Center brings is actually bringing the fourth dimension, the notion of development. And what I'm showing you here is simply what happened in prenatal life in the human brain. And the running tally is simply the number of cells that are developing in the brain. And of course, the changes are amazing. So the Conte Center really focuses on brain development, normal and aberrant. And the first phase of the Conte Center went from prenatal life all the way to adolescence. And the second phase, what we just started, as you've heard earlier, really takes principles of brain development into adult, and particularly not only adult mental and cognitive health, but also adult psychopathology and mental illness. And so to understand such complex issues as the contribution of experiences that happen early in life to brain development and how that may impact not only brain health, but also brain illness, really requires what, as Mike said, a cross-disciplinary team and cross-disciplinary teams that are composed of individuals trained in different areas of expertise. Why? Because they bring to the table diverse perspectives, conceptuals, and skills. This allows that kind of team to tackle very complex and major problems, health and world problems of other kinds that arise from many, many different sources. It allows such a team to each bring a new idea to the table and to rehash them and to think and conceptualize them in a manner that provides really novel and comprehensive solutions that are not possible within each discipline. And the outcome of that is you can come up with a solution not only to the problem at hand, but also solutions that may be generalizable and applicable broadly to other world problems. So the return on investment here can be huge. So in the Conte Center, we have a variety of disciplines. We have neurobiology. Some have the mouse, so here's a mouse. We have neurobiology, and I'm showing you some pictures here. I'm there as well. We have a number of developmental psychobiologists and psychologists who have been following fetuses all the way to adulthood. We have a large contingent of computational and quantitative people, led really by Professor Hal Stern, Vice Provost of Academic Planning, that spoke earlier today, and Ali Mortazavi and Dave Keeter, who brings different expertise to the table. We have neuroimaging represented, and you see friend Mike Yasser here. And we have a number of clinicians, including, of course, Ruth Benka, the chair of psychiatry, and others. And of course, like any team science, and I can't overemphasize that, we need a key, a linchpin, a director of operations, and we're blessed to have Dina Jankowski do that. So what are we really studying? Well, our approach is to take and introduce principles of developmental neurobiology into both the concept and the study of the origins of mental illness. So we're really starting with real-world clinical issues. We are taking them to the lab, either human lab or animal model lab, and then our goal is to take our discoveries back. And we're focusing on a very novel idea, and the idea is that in addition to genetic, chaotic environmental signals can disrupt the normal maturation of brain circuits because they do not provide them with the appropriate rhythms that allow brain circuits that underlie things such as emotions and cognitive function to develop normally. That leads to circuit dysfunction and vulnerability to disease. In fact, we're looking across species and using the capitalizing on the strength of animal experimental models versus human to look if unpredictability of signals from the environment and from the parent influences circuit maturation and mental and cognitive health. This requires a lot of tools and a lot of new tools. Some of them are mathematical and quantitative, and the quantitative and computational portion of our team science has really been able to quantify human behavior in terms of entropy rate, which is a quantitative measure of the degree to which a future behavior can be predicted from current behavior, led by Hal Stern. And that allows us to really look at chaotic and unpredictable signals and really establish that they may not allow normal maturation of brain circuits. In the current iteration of the Conte Center, as you heard, which has been recently funded, we go not only to assessing behavior in human infants and understand mechanisms in animal model throughout development, but we are taking this all the way in a trajectory to really understand vulnerable adult populations and how chaotic early life events may influence their mental health. So again, to accomplish some of these goals, we need a cross-disciplinary team. And this allows us also to use a variety of technologies, anything from looking at glia-neuron interaction and trying to understand how circuits are built and how the maturation is disrupted by aberrant synaptic pruning of circuits. We can use imaging across species. I'm showing you here human imaging from Mike Yassar's lab. And we can use big data and epigenomic approaches to really understand some brain and peripheral mechanism and identify biomarkers. We're using it, as I mentioned, through team science. But our approach to team science is not all these critters facing inward. Our approach to team science is inclusive. We have a center that is also a platform for a number of exciting and novel and important studies. And we invite you, everybody in the room and at UCI, to really be part of that. And how do we do that? Well, we believe that team science in the true sense of the word is also inviting other teams and incorporating other teams. And we do that in the Conte Center through monthly presentations where we not only discuss progress, but also hear from other people or discuss specific topics from different disciplines that change every month. We have seminars by real luminaries. The one that I'd like to draw to your attention to is that in the symposium on February 25th, the director of the National Institute of Mental Health, Dr. Josh Gordon, will be giving the keynote talk. So if you want to see, hear, and hobnob with Dr. Gordon, show up. You're invited. We also have seed grants, and I'm highlighting that because we just had our first call, and we got an amazing number of truly outstanding grants, and we'll be able to fund them at a better rate than NIH funding rates, so pay attention to the next round, which will be in a year or so. We really are interested in collaborations. We've been involved in generating preliminary data for proposals. We have tools, not only imaging, but also the entropy, the human behavior quantitative protocols, questionnaires that are now going all over the country, and actually some of them around the world, such as the questionnaire about the unpredictability in childhood. And we have ears. We really want to hear from you. We really want you to be part of the team science that is the Conte Center. So with this in mind, again, this is what we think is team science in the Conte Center, and you are welcome. Thank you.